Hi, everybody. My name is Wes Finley. I'm here at Facebook, even though it doesn't look too exciting. The sun actually hasn't come up yet. I shut the blinds because I didn't want the sun to blow you guys out as soon as it comes over the horizon behind me. But I'm actually envious of all you guys because I got to go to Web Congress last year, and I really enjoyed it. I was bummed when I realized I had a conflict here at work and I had to stay in Menlo Park this year, but I still wanted to talk to you guys about an ads delivery that I've been working on. Last year, here, let me go ahead and get started so I can get into my presentation, and you can look at some slides instead of my beautiful face. But let me go ahead and share the screen here. Oh, and I need to definitely set my stopwatch or else I'll talk forever. 1 second here. Okay. Now I'm on the clock. Okay, sharing the screen and jumping in the presentation. Somebody just shout at me if for some reason there's a technical issue and you're not seeing my slides right now. So, yep, looks good. Okay. What I wanted to talk to you guys today is about the ads delivery auction, and I thought this was a cool topic because I used to work at Coca-Cola for about 6 years, and we're not seeing the slides. Oh, let me double check that I shared correctly. Stop sharing screen. Sorry guys, this worked moments ago when we did it in test. Okay. All right, you should be seeing them now. Did it work now, Wally? Waiting for a response via Messenger. I'll go ahead. Switch camera. Let's see. Sorry about this. Switch screen or window. Share your entire screen. My camera full and my slide small. Okay. I think it should work now. Hopefully. It's just tough. I don't see exactly what you guys are seeing. It looks perfect on my end, but I'm not really the one who needs to see this content. While I wait for a response, I just wanted to jump in and say, the ads delivery auction, I think, is one of the backbones that really powers everything, not just Facebook, because I'm going to talk mostly about Facebook today. But at the same time, I'm going to discuss how some of the other ads delivery systems that our competitors use, not that we know everything about them, but we understand generally how they work and just the differences between how the Facebook ads delivery system works and the Google ads delivery system, particularly how they might be a little different. And like I said, these were one of the most exciting things that I learned in coming to Facebook because I'd been working at Coca-Cola for several years, and I actually spoke on behalf of Coca-Cola at Web Congress last year. And I thought I learned a whole lot about Facebook delivery and ads delivery in general while with Coca-Cola, but I didn't realize how much I still missed when I came to Facebook. And it's not like Facebook really tries to hide this information. It's just very niche, and I don't think, and because of that niche, it's not presented as often as maybe it should be. So that's why I thought it'd be a good topic to share with you guys today. Hopefully, I doubt it everyone will find it as compelling as me, but hopefully there's some of you there who really get a lot out of it because it is something that isn't shared often, and it really, I thought, helped me, and maybe it can help you guys too. So just to get into who I am, my name is Wes Finley. I'm a product marketing communications manager here at Facebook and I lead core ads. So really that just means I work on anything that's core ads related and try and make sure that our marketing message is correct for that content before we take it live. So I really have to have kind of a broad knowledge of our ads platforms and the delivery system in general. So to get into why an ads auction is necessary, you have to look at the challenge of what's stopping all ads from showing individuals on digital. Digital is a very different beast than TV. I'm not an expert on TV, but TV has things like upfronts where You actually just make contracts and in before a season decide how much you're going to pay, what an estimated number of impressions you might receive from that content, and you decide your demographics based on Nielsen studies and based on who might be watching content. Well, we do things very differently. Ours is a people-based system whereby every person who sees an ad is an individual. So you're not targeting a person because maybe they're viewing mountain bikes on a mountain bike site and you want to sell them something similar. You're targeting that person based on a holistic view of who that person is as an individual. He might not like mountain bikes at all, so you show him content that he happens to like, even if he's viewing a mountain bike site, if that makes sense. Because we're not doing a content adjacency. We're doing people-based marketing that targets individuals and helps us understand individuals to show them content that they'd like to see. And on the other side, I mean, I don't want to just sound like we're, trying to precisely target people and know everything about them. We take very seriously the consumer experience at Facebook, because without them, Facebook really wouldn't have any value at all. We need our users and we need them to enjoy our products just as much as we need our advertisers. And that's really where the balance comes in. We have to have an ad system that takes into calculation of the user experience and what a user would like to see, as well as the advertiser experience and what an advertiser would like the user to see on their behalf. And I think that really benefits everyone, because no marketer out there wants to show an ad to someone that it doesn't resonate with, that it doesn't increase brand lift, or that it doesn't increase purchase intent. And the only way you can do that is by showing a person an ad that they appreciate and enjoy. And yeah, just to set some understanding of where Facebook is right now. I'll try and switch one more time. Let me do that. I was told I'll try this, so stop sharing my screen. Maybe I can just share this particular window. Yeah, you're probably getting my notes right now. But I think if I go into presentation mode, it's not going to show you the presentation right now. Sharing is good, but it's in small size. All right, let me try one more thing. Stop sharing. Share screen. Let's share the whole screen. Okay, I'm hoping that worked. And you guys see the full screen right now, and maybe me just in the corner. So on Facebook, there's over 1.86 billion people. These are monthly active users. This was shared in our latest earnings call. And this is across the Facebook family, Facebook, Instagram, and Audience Network. And just to level set, like when I discuss Facebook in this conversation, we use the same people-based marketing across our platforms. So Facebook, Instagram, and Audience Network. Oh, great. It looks like it's working now. All function similarly in the people-based marketing. So if you choose specific targeting on Facebook and extend your ads to the Audience Network, you're still reaching specific individuals who are in your audience that you've chosen on Facebook. It's not just targeting random folks on Audience Network and specific people on Facebook. So that's why when I say Facebook, I really kind of mean the whole family of apps and services. And there's over 4 million marketers, or we see the full screen. There's over 4 million marketers or advertisers trying to reach these 1.86 billion people. So that really creates a system of infinite supply, and that supply is both the ads and the content that users are creating too, because all of them are competing in this system of everything competes with everything for user eyeballs or impressions. But that creates a good system. That competition helps bubble the best content up to the top. And the thing behind that is really the ads delivery auction, which I'm going to go into. But to help everyone understand this auction, I think it's best to start with pacing. It might not seem like the most exciting area, but pacing is one of the areas that Facebook does things a little differently from our competitors, and it actually helps everyone kind of understand at a baseline how the auction works before we jump into other things like how you can look at a conversion as your target or objective versus a lead or another objective that we're going to discuss later. But right now we're just going to look at pacing, and pacing is based on cost per 1,000 impressions generally, will be how I'll be discussing it in these next few slides. So a simple way to think about it is pacing means you have a budget, you have a campaign time frame, assuming you want to run your campaign for only a specific amount of time, and you have auctions you could win. And every auction would show your ad to an individual. There are probably a lot more auctions than dots in this slide, but I didn't want to try and show thousands to you in one slide. So here you can see on the X line you have time, on the Y line you have price, and there's different auctions that you could win at different prices across it. And if you didn't have Facebook manage your pacing, you could choose accelerated delivery, which is an option we offer, and you could pick your manual bid, and you could see you'd win all of these auctions if you didn't have Facebook manage your pacing, and you'd exhaust your budget really soon, probably in just a few moments, because there's so many auctions out there that you could win so many that you'd exhaust all of your funds. And you wouldn't get a particularly great CPM or cost per thousand impressions if you did it this way. Now, separately, how we understand that other ads delivery auctions other than Facebook work is more of a proportional bidding system, or also called a probabilistic bidding system. This really increases the probability that you would win an auction based on how much time you have left and how much budget you have left. And that gets really complicated, but overall, the way that it ends up working is you have kind of a random distribution of won auctions across your time frame. And as you can see, this makes sure that you extend your budget all the way across your campaign time frame. And I'm not going to say that this is a bad system, because it has one amazing thing going for it, and that's consistency. Because if you increase your budget, so you want to make more deliveries of your ad, so you want to spend more money, you're going to have a relatively consistent cost per thousand impressions, because it's a randomized system. So there's more random places that your content will be positioned. So if you increase your budget, your cost per thousand impressions really won't skyrocket. But this is Facebook's way of doing things. It's the best response bidding method, sometimes called a discount bidding, but I think that makes us sound a little bit like a thrift store. So I'll use best response bidding in this presentation. What Facebook tries to do is only win the lowest cost auctions that will extend your budget across the time frame. And because of that, you can see that you actually win more auctions than you would with the same budget. And the real world way I like to think about this is, say you're at the beach and you're collecting seashells in a bag, and the bag is your budget. You have a specific size of bag. How would you fill that bag with the most seashells? And these seashells could be conversions, they could be clicks, but they're all equal. So how would you fill your bag with the most seashells? You would choose the smallest seashells you could, and you'd put them in your bag. But as you pick up seashells off this beach, you run out of seashells that are available. So you have to keep getting bigger and bigger seashells. So if you eventually picked up all the seashells on the beach, you'd completely run out of availability within your audience constraints, and you'd have no more seashells you could pick up, or you'd fill up your bag. So if you increase the size of your bag, you have to increase the size of your seashells you're using. And that's kind of why in this next slide you see, as you increase your budget, the cost of your acquisition or the cost of your CPM increases as well on Facebook. Because with that bigger bag, you then have to go for less efficient seashells that are larger and larger to fill it. Eventually, you see the lines actually touch. This is where a proportional based bidding system and Facebook's best response bidding system will be equal in cost per thousand or cost per acquisition. And that's actually, Facebook will not cross that line, because that's the point at which you picked up every seashell at the beach. There's no more to grab, and you really just have to expand your audience or reduce your audience constraints if you want to actually receive more impressions, because there's no more out there. I hope that was a little bit easy to understand, because advertisers like you guys, probably some of you in the audience, like to make things complicated. And the way that happens is you all have very, very different objectives. It's not just buying across 1,000 impressions like my previous example discussed. You might want traffic, you might want reach, probably conversion, some of you, or lead generation. All of these things are different ways Facebook can optimize your content. And the optimization is really possible here because we use that best response bidding. So we can determine an estimated action rate, so the estimated number of people who will become a lead, and drive that cost as low as possible in terms of showing your ad to a person and the estimated amount that they will actually take the action that you want because you have specified lead generation. But one of the things that I think really confuses people and sometimes gets them a little upset is they don't understand that these objectives are all created equal. So if you say pick an audience that says I want conversions in the U.S. and the Philippines, Facebook's optimization system is going to find the cheapest conversions that can fit your budget. So it's not going to say, give me an equal number of people in the US and the Philippines. It's going to drive most of your conversions from the Philippines because typically impressions in the Philippines cost less. So you have to think Facebook's algorithmic system doesn't know that you might want a broad spectrum of conversions across your audience. It just knows I'm going to drive optimization in the greatest way possible, which is skewed to the area that will drive the most conversions for your budget, if that's your selected objective. In the same way, just know that actually keeps everybody who's a marketer like me in business, because we still have to make good, smart decisions about who we target. Because if you don't, then you're really going to drive conversions where there's no value. And that's not what you want either. Facebook's algorithmic system is smart, the AI is smart, but it's not smart enough to know what you as an advertiser really need and where the value comes for you. This is a great slide because I just got permission to share these numbers. This really shows why driving for traffic, which I think is a really common thing that people on Facebook do, may not be the best objective for you. And that's because traffic is really paying per clicks. So you're saying, I want to pay an amount for clicks of users in my audience to drive traffic to my website or something. But usually I would say advertisers don't want traffic. You really want a lower funnel objective. You want something more from that traffic. You want them to read an article. You want them to buy a product. You want them to become a lead. And all of these things can be done with the Facebook Pixel, which I'm not going to discuss today. But the traffic itself is really just a top of funnel, the first step. But when you buy the objective traffic, you're telling Facebook, optimize for me to find the lowest cost traffic available. And the lowest cost traffic comes from these specific users who are more likely to click. There's some users on Facebook just like to click on a lot of stuff. I don't know what it is. They click constantly. And these users are the ones who are most cost effective to drive traffic. But at the same time, they may not be the most cost-effective users to drive those deeper funnel conversions, like a lead generation or a product buy. And also, because they like to click so much, the system targets more content to them that is a traffic objective. So it actually costs 5.5 times more to reach than the users who do not click often on ads. So you can much more easily reach a user for a lower cost who doesn't click often on ads, but that user might only click sometimes, and when they do, they convert a lower funnel conversion, like downloading your app or buying your product. So I hope here I just want to share as quickly as I can, because I don't want to run out of time, some of the math behind it. And this is the equation that we use to determine what wins in that auction, what content is displayed. And it's really a total value equation. So the number at the end is always called total value. And if that total value is greater, then that is the ad that is going to win the auction. And there's really three parts that go into it. The advertiser bid, which is how much you as an advertiser say, hey, this is worth this much to show me this content, or this is worth this much for me to show my content to an advertiser or to a user. Then there's the estimated action rate. And this one gets really complicated because this is how likely Facebook determines the individual user who you're showing the ad to may take your action that you want to receive. If that's a click, it's how likely is this user going to click. If it's conversion, we've got to determine in some way how likely is this user going to take a deeper funnel conversion based on what we know about that user and based on what we know about you as an advertiser and what your ad is running. So all of those things go into the estimated action rates. And the last one is that user experience column. And that's what does this individual user like to see? How relevant would this ad be for that individual user? And because we have these three different areas, if one of them breaks down, your ad may stop delivering. And I think that causes a lot of frustration too, because if there's advertisers out there who suddenly their ad delivery just stops, it's probably because one of these things fell to close to zero. If your estimated action rates for conversions falls to zero, you can see the total value in this equation would be zero, because 0 times whatever bid, you could bid $1 million and it's still going to be zero. So that helps you understand why sometimes ad delivery falls to zero, even if you have a high advertiser bid. Just quickly to go through these in individual slides. The advertiser bid is just the amount that you're willing to pay to show your content. You can set automatic bidding, which just allows Facebook to make sure your ad's competitive, because if your bid is too low, you won't get any delivery, and no marketer wants that. Or you can set manual bidding, which says I'm not going to pay higher than this amount. And then estimated action rates. This is the complicated one, but I give you some of the 5 things that are most relevant in estimated action rates. These are what we look at in terms of, oops, let me look at what, okay. I'm good on time, that's good. These estimated action rates are what we look at in terms of how we calculate that estimated action value. And obviously on number 5, it's kind of a cop-out because we say other factors, but that's really just because the Facebook backend system is constantly being tweaked to improve optimization. So we can't possibly tell all of the factors that are being tweaked at all times. It's kind of the secret sauce, but the most relevant ones to you guys and the ones you should really keep in mind are the recent activity on the ad. So is your ad functioning well? Is it being received well? Is it getting lots of conversions? If so, our estimated action rate for that ad will be higher. What are the user characteristics you're showing the ad to? Does this user generally convert on other ads they've seen? Or are they typically just, I don't know, a lurker, you would say, who just reads Facebook but doesn't ever click and doesn't ever really take action? Third would be the ad set, campaign, and account history. And this is important because some people like to share different brands across an ad account on Facebook, which is not really a great idea, because if one or multiple of those brands have a very poor advertising history, maybe they give poor creative, poor content, then that poor history can kind of bleed over into some of the other ad accounts you use. So really try and separate the accounts and pages that you use, and don't try and use a single ad account to buy ads across a brand spectrum. And the fourth one is actually the page or app history. If your Facebook page is one that's well received by users, people generally, it's viral, people share it a lot, then your ads actually get a higher estimated action rate, which is a benefit to you in the ads auction, because you'll win more auctions at a lower bid even. And of course, like I said, number 5, other factors, not going to share that one. And the third piece is this relevance and quality. This is how relevant is your ad going to be to this specific user who sees calculating all of this math just to show one impression, and we do it trillions of times a second. What does this one user find about the ad? Is it something they're interested in? Are they interested in financial services? If so, then it might be a high user quality, relevance and quality for them. If they really hate banking, and we know this from their general history in how they use the platform, it might be a lower relevance and quality score for that user. So now that we've done the math to see how we get to these examples and what ads are shown to what people, I wanted to show just a few real-world, like hypothetical examples, which maybe are a little easier to comprehend than looking at a math equation. So these delivery principles in real life, you can see this is kind of a San Francisco slide, because this is, if we have $400 to buy a nice spread for dinner, I think with $400 you can buy about the most amazing spread for dinner you've ever seen. If it was me making this slide, it would probably say like, you have $22 in a Starbucks gift card to buy a spread for dinner. How would you spend that money? But let's say you have $400, which is your budget, like you would in an ad spend, and you have multiple places to spend that budget. These are multiple stores. You have to assume that all the ingredients in these stores are equal, but how would you choose the store budgets to spend that would maximize the ingredients you could buy? Would you say I'm going to spend $200 in each store? Or would you say I'm going to spend $400 in one, $0 in another? Would you say what I spent last time in store A, what I spent last time in store B? Well, all of these wouldn't get you the best combination of ingredients, because every ingredient could be a different price at any given time at one of these stores. And that's kind of how the auction works. There could be, random competitive issues that cause auctions to be just really low in cost on one of our platforms, maybe Instagram, versus Facebook at any given time. So the best way to do it is to dynamically choose where to spend your money based on the lowest cost of the ingredient at the time. So in a way, you're only picking the ingredients that cost less. You're buying the bread at the store that's the cheapest. You're buying the milk at the store that's the cheapest. And that's kind of how our ad placement system works. This is talking about placing your ad in the different areas that it appears. This is not just Facebook in the news feed or Facebook on mobile. It's Instagram, it's Audience Network, it's Facebook Right Rail, it's in-stream video if your Facebook ad happens to be a video clip. And you can see here, by choosing multiple placements in a single ad set, you actually are allowing Facebook to comparison shop across stores to find which one, and it's using that estimated action rate to find which area in which store can get you the conversion or get you the traffic or whatever your objective is, can get you that content at the lowest possible cost. And just to show how this works, here's an example of a store called Adam's Shorts. The guy who made this slide's name is Adam, so I kept his name on it to give him a little credit. And in Adam's Shorts, on this top of the graph here, this is Facebook. And I don't know if you can see it, but Facebook shows in this example, he sells, what is this? He sells, I don't know what that number is, but he sells a certain number of green pairs of shorts in this chart. And on Facebook, the average cost is $6.46. And since he bought across Facebook and Instagram, which is the lower chart, the average cost of Instagram was $7.67, and he sold 3 shorts there. So in total, he sold 16 shorts at an average cost of $6.69. But if you look at these in a breakdown, you say, hey, Facebook's average cost was cheaper. Why did I spend on Instagram at all? But what happens when you remove Instagram is, like I said in the earlier seashell example, where you can only fit certain numbers of seashells in your bag, and then you have to pick larger ones. Facebook has less options to win your conversions, so it has to go for the least efficient ones, which are these $8 and $9 shorts. So you can see the average cost suddenly went up to $6.80, and you only sold 15 shorts, because you removed Instagram, even though Instagram as a whole in this chart costs less than Facebook did. And again, that's the comparison shopping aspect of the tool. That's really the fluidity that allows Facebook to optimize for your objective. And let me see, here we go. So the final thing I want to talk about is what are we getting at in terms of the ads delivery system? What is it trying to achieve? We're really trying to achieve the maximum total value subject to your constraints. That is, we're going to try and find the most of the objective you choose in the constraints you choose. So an interesting story about this is the great thing about knowing how this stuff works is we had a contest at work to actually find we had a new objective called reach, and they let us dog food, which is giving us free ad credits to see with $100 who can get the most reach in the Facebook company with this new objective. So I put my $100 down for the month, and I put 0 constraints. So everyone who used Facebook was within my target audience. You typically wouldn't want to do this because you're going to be reaching people across the world. You're going to be reaching, year-olds. You're going to be reaching 65-year-olds. But because the only purpose was reach, I knew that because I knew this back-end system, my answer was correct. There was no way I was not winning. I was 100% confident that I was winning that contest because I had chosen the correct actions in the ad auction to maximize total value or the total amount of reach that I could get within the 0 constraints that I set. Because there were no constraints, Facebook was going to totally maximize the optimization, and I ended up winning that contest. So when you understand this boring stuff in the back end, you actually can be super confident in how you buy your ads because you know there's a right answer. Obviously, there's things like creative and copy that come into play that can make things a little more complicated. But say you get your creative from a creative agency and you're just the media buyer, you know you can do your job right, and the creative can be someone else's problem at that point. Okay, I've got just a couple more minutes. I'm almost done here. So just to break out that statement a little bit more, it's to maximize the total value or the total results, and these results are are the objectives that you provide in the constraints. And to give an example of a constraint would be, let's say you're selling an alcoholic product. So you would definitely want your constraints to be people who can purchase alcohol in your country's age limit. Because showing your content to anyone outside that constraint has no value to you. In the same way, maybe you're a regular store somewhere and you set your constraint as in people who are within a 10-mile radius of your store. You know, people outside that radius have no value to you, so showing them the ad is not valuable. But at the same time, your constraints should be as limited as possible, because that's where we find the fluidity to seek the value. That's where Facebook is able to spread out and really find those lowest cost auction items, as opposed to having to search for the larger seashells because your constraints are so small that there aren't many seashells on the beach. And the key takeaways from this presentation, I hope that I didn't bore you too much with technicalities, but I really think this stuff can get exciting if you're the type of person who likes to dig into the back end of why things happen. And it's not just Facebook and the ads delivery auction. These auctions, while they have little tweaks and differences, digital ads delivery is just very different from like TV ads delivery. And these differences are these differences within our systems like Google and Facebook, they aren't fundamental, and they don't change the entire system of ads delivery. They just might change the way you might buy your ad to maximize your value. So generally, the BEAR, I know that I didn't explain it, but we use BEAR as a mnemonic term to use that to mean that total value, advertiser bid, estimated action rate, and relevancy and quality system. It may not be a good mnemonic for you guys, which a mnemonic is like when you use a real world item or an animal like a bear to remember the first letters of each word. But I'm not sure what the letters of those words would be in Spanish, so maybe there's a different mnemonic that would work for you guys. So that's key. Remember that equation, because that can tell you whether or not your ads will win. And if your ads ever stop delivering, that can tell you one of those pieces of that equation has broken down and it needs to be fixed. Second, buy your true objective. If your true objective is not clicks, don't buy clicks. I would even think if your true objective is not clicks, you might even want to buy just impressions or reach, because by buying an objective that is not your true objective for your business, you're telling Facebook to optimize for something that is not actually there, that is not really what you want, and that can mess up a lot of things in the back end. Pacing. Remember how the pacing works. Remember that discount bidding is going to find the lowest possible cost. So the more fluidity you allow Facebook, the lower the cost can be for you. And last of all, remember that all results are equal. So when any result within your constraints, Facebook sees as an equal win. So don't choose the United States and the Philippines in your targeting, because most of your results, if not all of them, will come from the Philippines, just because that market right now in ads delivery is a little less competitive and the costs are a little lower in that area. But that's really all I had for you today. I don't know if we can take questions based on the way this is set up, and I really wish I could be there with you guys in person. Unfortunately, scheduling just didn't have it happen, but maybe next year. So thank you very much, and if we're able to do questions, let me know, Wally. Otherwise, I guess it's goodbye.
Thank you. Muchas gracias. Gracias. Muchas gracias. Gracias, Wes.
Okay. I guess I'm going to have to sign off now, but thank you, everybody. I appreciate being able to share this content with you.
Thank you, Wes. Thank you so much.